Yeah, it's kind of like, if you get real close, it's like NPR.
It's like ASMR.
Or ASMR. Welcome to a new edition of Friends on Purpose. Yes.
Sweaty balls.
Sweaty balls. Yes, neat. Welcome to Friends on Purpose,
where two friends talk about life, love,
and finding purpose. Hi.
Hey. Missed you.
Missed you too. It's been a couple weeks.
I know. Well,
we took a little season one break.
I don't want to go any further before we thank your brother.
Oh, of course.
Like, something magical happened in between season 1 and season 2, and it just is making me feel verklempt. Like, I'm just like,
what? What is that word?
Verklempt. It's Yiddish, kind of like I'm feeling like overwhelmed. I'm feeling like I'm feeling so just thankful, moved, like the sweetest thing. Do you wanna shout out your bruh?
Yeah, it was definitely very kind and generous, and that's who he is. I mean, he's been like this my whole life. He's always
tell everyone what he did.
So my brother bought us new mics. So if you haven't noticed already, the quality and sound is about 100 times better.
Yeah.
And that's due in part to him purchasing these mics and sending them to us.
Just the sweetest
to start fresh in season 2. He's a big fan of the show.
Yeah.
And you know, he just texted me out of the blue one day and it's like, "Hey, what do you need for mics? Send me a link." I'm like, "What?" So that's just who he is.
Yeah. And I mean, it's like testament to, I don't have siblings, so it's like, is that what siblings do for each other? Oh my God. So kind, Graham. Thank you so much. And also, now as a part of, his sponsorship, we'll be spending 6 minutes at the top of every show talking about, things that he wants to hear about. So
yeah. Well, he did say I'm the executive producer now.
Right. And so, I mean, he owns us now.
I took that as like a title that we can now shit talk.
Right. We're like, well, sorry, we can't do that. Our executive producer won't let us.
Who's stifling our creative endeavors.
Yeah.
With turning this into a business.
Yeah. Yeah. He's corporatizing this because now there's money behind it. Anyway, I'm so appreciative and so thankful. And I wanted to make sure that our people who are enjoying a better audio quality, you can thank Eric's brother. That's what's up.
Thank you, Graham.
Thank you so much, Graham. Send me a text about what you want me to talk about every show, and I'll work it in secretly. Don't tell Eric. Well, I guess, Eric, we should start off with the question, which is, what's your relationship to horror, and when did you first get into it?
Yeah.
Make fun of
So me first?
Yeah. Or I can go first,
No, I'll go first because let's just get it out of the way. I have never considered myself someone who likes horror movies. It's for one, they scared me, right? I mean,
right.
It's a genre that's not for everyone. I think there are plenty of people out there who just say, no, I don't watch horror movies because of the way it makes them feel. And I put myself in that category for a long time. But I think it had predominantly more to do with the fact that I was raised in Christianity, and horror movies and, heavy metal music, pornography,
right.
Even games like D&D and Magic the Gathering. All that stuff was satanic or demonic.
Right.
And to partake in them would be to open a door to hell.
A portal.
And let let those things come in and affect your spirit, essentially. Right. So, you know, and I think that stems from, you know, just kind of sheltering your children. Like, you know, there's certain ages of, you know, children should not be watching these things.
Yeah, it's scary.
At a young age. That's why we have ratings, right?
Right.
But also, have you ever heard of the Satanic Panic?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. So, that's where a lot of it came from. So it was kind of like the dregs of that, you know. Satanic Panic was more like the 80s, 90s, you know, it was like this widespread moral panic, centered around like satanic ritual abuse that may or may not have actually occurred. I actually did a little research on it. I guess there were like 12,000 cases that were looked into, and none of them proved to be true.
I believe the heck out of that.
Yeah. So there's like all this like weird hysteria, like within the media and within religion, particularly Christianity, who are like eating this up. It's more of like a conspiracy theory that, you know, Satanists are ruling the world or trying to, you know, kidnap your children. Yeah. But what that meant was all of these things had like demonic powers attached to them. And so
how convenient.
I grew up learning that, you know, I grew up in that kind of environment, you know, being taught that. And to me, it was kind of like, this is like being taught Santa Claus, but then never being told it wasn't true,
real,
you know?
So
that, you know,
you're out there like, y'all are, I don't know how you do it. It's the craziest stuff ever.
Right. Well, what it did was it sparked a lot of fear in me, you know? So I was afraid of things more than I even really needed to be. I was more cautious about listening to certain kinds of music. It wasn't just like heavy metal, you know, which tends to be the most demonic.
You know, it's so
like
funny.
Even like rock music or music like, you know, pop music, which is highly sexual, or can be, you know, especially in the early 2000s. You had like Christina Aguilera, we had Britney Spears, all these
Jessica Simpson, babes,
right? You know, right. And so that to me was like a threat to my spirituality, which is kind of funny to think about.
That is funny.
And so horror was lumped into all of that.
Yeah.
And so that's why I never partook of it.
And
now, well, I did have little glimpses of it. There were a few thrillers that I watched. So, and ended up being my favorite movies.
Which ones?
At that time, right? So it was mostly M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, sure.
So The Village, which
classic.
is hilarious because it's essentially a cult.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
and
you were like, brilliant.
yeah, right.
What a brilliant commentary.
Signs, which is about a reverend who loses his faith.
Yep.
You know, so it had kind of these weird themes that were related to me.
Yeah.
And so I think I liked them because they were doing what they were intended to do. These stories were telling me something about my life.
They were holding
even though
a mirror.
I didn't quite realize it at first. And so those were like some of my most favorite movies and kind of the furthest I got into scary movies. There might've been a couple more, but nothing like those, you know, like those. So that's kind of where I'm at. And so since then, and I said this in the last episode, but like, I've been diving in a little deeper lately because I realized, oh, you know, this is a part of me that I kind of wrote off.
Yeah.
And actually it's kind of exciting to be able to jump in, you know, with all curiosity and like freedom, you know? So yeah. So I'm really excited to hear what you have to say in all of this,
Well,
in my like horror crash course here.
yeah,
Maybe.
like first and foremost, welcome. We're so glad to have you here. You know, I have been a little horror freak for decades. I mean, there were two things that I watched as a kid, like surreptitiously. I guess watching TV, I wasn't supposed to watch TV like after a certain time, but sometimes I would like sneak TV. And it was all Nick at Night. So it was
Mhm.
like I Love Lucy, Carol Burnett show, I Dream of Jeannie, like loved it. And then it was a Twilight Zone. And so I
Yeah.
was super into the Twilight Zone, but I had this feeling that it was bad because I just got this feeling when I was watching it. I was like, I shouldn't be watching this. So I never like processed it out loud.
Uh-huh.
And it's funny because I recently went back and watched I like blasted through Twilight Zone seasons,
Yeah.
and it like brought up so many like feelings, but not
Really?
nostalgia, just kind of like almost like, oh, that I watched that when I was like 7. Like that is probably why I feel X about Y. Like Aliens. The episode
Ah,
where did you
like a
ever watch?
fascination.
Yeah, I just like or just even like
Like you can't look away.
yeah. And that it informed things about me that I didn't even realize
Yeah.
it was. But anyway, so I've been watching, I started with the Twilight Zone, which
Hmm.
I love because I love that for me. I love that for my origin story because what I love about horror always is that it's a social commentary. It's a mirror. It holds a mirror back up to ourselves. And and wouldn't you know, that's scary. You know,
Yeah.
because it's
Oh,
sometimes,
that's crazy.
you know, we
Like I'm already
look,
getting chills. Like
we
that's exactly
look,
what was happening to me.
yeah, we look away because we're like, ugh, because you don't
Yeah.
want to see that thing, that commentary, that
Yeah.
reflection back, because then you have to deal with it, right?
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I've been, but also what I've loved about it for so long is that horror, I mean, so the Academy Awards just happened, the Oscars just happened, and
Hmm.
Weapons won
Weapons. Yeah.
for was it Best Actress? The
Yes.
So that's the first time that a horror movie has
Oh,
won a major award. Let me
wow.
fact check myself.
No, that sounds about right.
I think
It's
I
kind of snubbed, right? As a
correct,
genre,
because
it's kind of
horror,
snubbed.
that's right. That's right. So that's what I like about it, because there's just this long running assumption that horror isn't serious cinema, whatever. People get away with a lot. You know, they push the envelope.
Hmm.
And obviously, like with like snuff films, that's a bad thing. You know,
Right.
we
Right.
want people paying attention in certain ways. But the genre has so many rabbit trails and holes that it's like, because I think ultimately it's a vehicle for people to explore these like parts of ourselves, our society, our inner workings, that
Hmm.
we're kind of, it's just so psychological, you know, no matter
Yeah.
what. And I mean, obviously all movies are trying to evoke behavior or emotion, but horror does it in just this way that I've
Hmm.
always been like, oh my gosh. So, you know, I mean, I was always the one at the sleepovers that was like, let's watch Poltergeist. Like, and people would be like,
Yeah.
I know. So like, I love ghosty movies. I love psychological thrillers. I
Yeah.
love classic slasher. There is one category of movie that I just never have gotten into, and it's, and it's so funny because for me personally, I have tacked it into the early, like the mid 2000s, 2010s and teens, is like the Hostel, Saw, those torture
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah.
And I believe that those torture movies were so popular at the time because of the wars in the Middle East, and we were talking a lot about
Yeah.
torture at Guantanamo, and we had
Guantanamo
this
Bay.
like kind of like
Yeah.
moments.
There was a lot of that in Lost.
Yes, totally.
with
And
the
that
Middle
was
Eastern
totally of the
character.
time. Yep.
Yeah.
So, and then remember like 24 and Homeland. I mean, there was this
Yep.
whole like moment where we were just
Mm-hmm.
obsessed with, and well, here we are, March 19th, 2026, and we are
Repeating
instigating
ourselves,
war in the Middle East
if
again.
not
So there's,
worse. Yeah.
yeah.
Ugh.
But there was just
That's
such
real
a,
horror.
yeah, for real. So anyway, that type of horror I don't like. I just recently have been like kind of, I also probably told people a while ago that I would never get into body horror, because I thought it
What's
was
body
similar.
horror?
I thought it was similar to torture horror, where you like something grotesque happens to a body, like it, like
Oh,
a, well, what I thought it was, I was confusing body horror with torture horror, like Hostel and Saw, whatever, because that's where you see people like against their
yeah.
will having their fingers cut off so that they'll do something or playing a game or whatever.
Yeah.
But a great example of, I think, like one of the best body horrors recently was Demi Moore and Margot Qualley in The Substance. It came out last year, 2025, I think. And the reason it's such a brilliant body horror is because it kind of subverts the female, like the issue with the male gaze for women in the world, where you're like, you're never beautiful enough, you're never thin enough, you're never this enough, and whatever. And when you turn on yourself, what does that look like? And that, so The Substance, I think,
Huh.
is, I mean, it gets
So explain body horror more
so like
generally.
in general, something like it might be like you see scales on your skin, and it's like this grotesque thing where like
Okay.
it's highly unlikely that anyone would
Okay.
this would ever happen, but you're like, the part of why it's so visceral and scary is because you're
Right.
like,
Okay.
ooh, like, oh
And
my God,
so
what
the
if I did
film
turn
is
into
centered
bark?
around that kind of scare.
Yes, like
Okay.
that, like
Got it.
that close up
Yeah.
on like your
That's the
like
scary
claws
thing.
coming
Yeah.
out of your fingernails, or whatever. A witch is
Reminds me
transforming.
of District 9 when he's turning into an alien.
Totally. That's very,
Yeah.
that was an aspect in that movie. They invoked body horror, but I don't think the movie itself was body horror. And then of course there's like,
Yeah.
in Alien, when the alien jumps out of
Yeah.
the chest,
Okay. Yep.
it's like that is body horror in that moment, but I don't think
Mm-hmm.
Alien is a body horror movie,
Right. Okay.
So,
Okay.
but just like there's any, like in any horror movie, you could have like a slasher scene, but the movie
Sure.
is a psychological thriller. So
Right.
anyway, so also, there is a really strong, because of horror's origins, like, and this like snubbing of horror, there's a really, in, I mean, maybe some people don't agree with this, but I personally think there's a really strong thread in the queer community in horror. Because often subcultures will see the irony of something before mainstream does. Like they read the subtext and are like, yep.
Yeah.
Or like there's coded messaging in there and that you're like more primed to see. So I think there was also that part where I was just like, felt like I was on the in of like, this wink and a nod.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just,
Huh.
I will watch, I never watch like stuff with subtitles. Like it's hard for me, but if it's a horror movie, I've sat through Spanish horror movies and French horror movies and like Russian horror movies just because I love horror that much. Or badly dubbed horror movies. I'm all in.
I think the closest thing I've come to like subculture, recognizing subcontext, and this is not even close to what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But within Christianity, we would look at certain movies as being prophetic.
Oh, such as?
Yeah, like basically putting a mirror up to society.
Yeah.
So it was oftentimes like disaster movies, signs of the end times.
Yeah.
So like Armageddon and
Yeah.
like Deep Impact both came
Yes.
out at the same time.
Yeah.
People were saying these asteroids that are going to hit Earth is actually, a prophetic message to
Yeah.
the world saying, hey, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
You better be prepared for a tidal wave to come and hit, California or the East
Yeah.
Coast or however you want to say that.
Yeah.
And it was taken very literally by certain groups of Christians. And that was scary, like thinking that, New York, Boston could be wiped out by a tidal wave. These are things that scared me as a kid because the church was talking about them like they were real.
Right.
And then there would be like little details in movies like that to where like the spaceship they sent out into the into space to try to like push the asteroid off course.
Yeah.
Was named the Messiah. So
God.
like, ooh, that's very Christian themed, right?
Yeah.
Or there are other little details like that would just Christians would just eat up. Like, it was some sort of deeper meaning and was just a sign of the end times, which was
you were looking for. I mean, that's the thing.
What,
we are often looking for validation of our.
So those were the
worldview.
scariest movies I watched because they were connected to my reality, and it was like, it's so wacky.
Yeah. Hey friends, if you're enjoying this podcast, could you leave us a rating and review? It doesn't have to be long, but just a few words and or heart emojis. It helps more people discover the show. And friendship, as it turns out, grows better with a good review. If you've already left a review, thanks. You're doing the quiet, heroic work of helping the algorithm believe in friendship. I think horror also, and you've referenced this as you've become more into horror. I mean, obviously there's also that like in a lot of the genres, the subgenres in horror, there's that like play along, like, can you guess the twist? Mm-hmm. And it's like that part I also really like too, where you're deep watching because you're like, where were the clues? And then you get to watch them again and be like, oh, that's where I missed it. So I love like.
So how did you do with Begonia?
Oh,
like in looking for those clues.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just say spoilers. If you haven't seen this movie, maybe stop listening
for sure
until you go see it because we are going to talk. We're going to
talk about the twist. Yeah, I found myself wanting to not believe the twist and believe that like she had some sort of like brain injury that like. Mm-hmm. Had her hallucinate that part because I was like, no, what? Like, but then when I was reading that it was a remake of Save the Green Planet, that movie, which I haven't seen. It's a Korean horror movie.
Oh yeah, I did hear that.
Yeah.
And you had seen that?
I hadn't seen it.
Okay.
And so that ending was like, I mean, it is not believed to be a hallucination for the main character. Like that the point was that she really was an Andromedan.
Right. Yeah.
So I didn't see it coming and I was kind of like,
yeah. See, I spoiled it for myself or I was just too suspicious of everything I was learning about it. So I tried really hard. I didn't watch the trailer. All I've ever heard was this is a great movie. And I knew that it was, I don't know a psychological thriller. I don't know what you'd call it, but that's exactly what happened. I didn't know what genre it was.
Yeah.
So I looked it up and it said thriller and then it said sci-fi.
Oh, and you were like,
yeah. So when I'm watching, I was like, nothing sci-fi about this. I'm like, oh, she's an alien. So it kind of ruined it for me.
I mean,
but I still really enjoyed it.
I loved it. I totally, totally loved it. I thought it was such a great commentary on like, I guess what I took away from it was like, yeah, he was right. She was an alien. His behavior was still atrocious. Like, so it's like just this in this moment of like lots
Right.
of, we're trying to justify behavior, bad behavior, because, because some part of some conspiracy is like proven or whatever, and then that we believe that gives us a green light to behave in an awful way, like the irony of his actions proving to the Andromedans that the experiment should be ended, that humanity should be finished because he figured it out that they were doing the experiment. That's what I took away from it too. It was like his shitty actions did the exact opposite of what he was trying to do, was save humanity.
Yeah.
I find myself rewatching horrors because I like consumed a ton of horror as like a teen and a early like 20s, and now when I rewatch them, it's like, whoa, there's so much commentary, or that like hindsight helps, like because it was like really of the moment, or like I like to watch sometimes like classics like Poltergeist in what, like 1982, and then 2015 they remake it, and when you watch those side by side, and you see what choices they make to emphasize the same point, but 2 decades, 3 decades later, I love that.
Yeah.
Same with it, like when we were talking about,
I was gonna say,
the stylistic choices.
I liked it. It didn't like grab me as much as some of the other films we've already talked about, but in realizing, in giving this podcast some thought, knowing that we're going to talk about it, I realized that it actually touched on a lot of things that that put me more into the story than I realized. I relate more with the characters now that I've given it some time.
Yeah.
Because the lesson, I guess, is what is to face your fears. And that shows up in different ways for each of the kids.
Yeah.
What I really liked about that film is how is the girl's story. And how she was afraid of like her own womanhood.
Yeah.
And how it, manifested itself through the blood in the bathroom. And it was just like, wow, that's really powerful.
Yeah.
And I think I'm a sucker for like, for symbolism in film. Symbolism through color, through, things like that, but I guess there's a lot of that I don't know that there's more of that in the horror movies I've seen so far than is in other films.
I think horror,
that's definitely something that I gravitate towards just cinematically.
I think horror does
a story
a lot with symbolism. I also think horror does a nice job of tackling difficult social issues. I mean, sometimes super head on, but sometimes in such an obtuse way that you actually get to the base fear, not the like thing we're saying we're afraid of, but
which is kind of like weapons.
Totally. Did you watch Before?
I did.
Okay. What do you think?
I didn't like it.
Oh,
yeah.
Tell me more.
I think because, and I don't know that I know why exactly yet, but, you did say that like each episode kind of lands funky, like, they're trying to
keep, it was just like, they were like, you still with us? Like, it felt,
And after that, after not all the episodes, but like after many of the episodes, it was like, no, I'm not with you.
Yeah.
It wasn't as
profound.
Like the stakes didn't seem high to me.
I think so.
And I don't know if I clued into this too early, but like Billy Crystal's character kills his wife, or finishes her off after he finds her struggling, having committed suicide in the tub. That was like, is he a bad guy?
Right.
And then you kind of slowly come to realize that, maybe not, maybe it was more of a mercy thing.
Yeah.
It's something she wanted. But then it's like his daughter flips on him and then flips again.
Him. Yeah.
So it's like she's mad he did that to her, and then she comes out the next episode and says, "Why didn't you do it sooner?" And that just seemed kind of disjointed to me. Like,
I felt like it was a very it has elements of a certain type of genre where you're committed against your will, right? Like you see ghosts and people don't realize the ghosts are actually real, or, whatever. Yeah. And like there's that feeling of like wrongful accusation or wrongful imprisonment because people don't understand. But then what I thought was most interesting about the whole storyline was like, I guess I would just sum it up as like the power of the human mind. And so it was exploring consciousness and like these things that I've been like, about lately. Yeah. So, there was like the supernatural element, there was the psychological element, there was the consciousness, there was the psych ward part, and it was, of course, there was like the material scientist who's like these things aren't real, and then he experiences the thing and now he's like, this is real. I mean, it was all very heavy-handed, but I thought it was I honestly really didn't like it until they introduced the house and like the Dutch that
was family. Intriguing to me, but I feel like the payoff wasn't that
good.
It wasn't. It didn't. I don't know.
I consumed it pretty quickly because I that's what I do with horror. I'm like, more.
Yeah.
Quick rundown. I do just need to say this. There's so many horror movies out there that I love so much. But mostly what I love about them is like how long I think about them later.
Yeah.
So one that has like stuck with me forever is The Orphanage, which I should have looked this up.
Send me a list of recs after this, because I'll start checking them off.
Yeah, so this was a 2007 Spanish movie, so this one is not in English, but it's so good. I think this is like, for those of you out there who understand what this means, I bought the DVD, It was so...
That's how good it was.
Oh my gosh, a fly just landed in my hair. Talk about horror. Okay, so The Orphanage. This one's going to be stupid, but you should watch it because it's like a great example of horror poking fun at itself, which it often does, which is The Cabin in the Woods. So good. I really... I cannot even tell you how
That's a new one.
Cabin in the Woods.
Was
it like 2013, maybe 2011?
Oh, really?
Yeah, 2011.
Oh. Well, then what am I thinking? Anyway,
I'm thrilled that there's a Scream 7 just came out because I love the Scream franchise. I love it.
Really? They're all good?
No, they're not all good. Like. 1 is excellent, 2 is terrible, 3 is fantastic. Like, it's a great franchise.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and then I should also shout out to one, like, I love Alfred Hitchcock, and so Rear Window with Jimmy Stewart.
I just watched that.
Oh my God.
I saw it way back when.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that
Rear
was
Window,
excellent.
So good.
Did you like Charades?
Oh my gosh, I haven't watched it.
With Audrey Hepburn.
No, I haven't watched Charades.
Or maybe it's just charade. I don't know, but
Right.
I'm pretty sure that's Alfred Hitchcock.
Okay. Yeah. So those are my shout outs. And I think that when you are able to enjoy horror, kind of like a la It, when you can walk up to the fear and like see it for what it is, which is really just like
Yes.
there's just,
That's what I'm discovering.
yeah, it's like
Ye-
the scare, you have to look through the scare to understand it. And as soon as you look behind the curtain, you're like, oh, whoa.
Yeah. Which is so, to me, I think that's what I'm responding to now.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's kind of wild, like realizing this now, because I don't think I was ever actually afraid of like demons, right?
Yeah.
You know, I was really afraid of like being tricked into
Losing your like faith or,
inviting one in.
yeah.
You know, it wasn't like
not
I was
knowing.
afraid of the physical form, like seeing
Yeah.
a ghost, you know. It was like the real horror wasn't the movies.
Yeah.
It was like this belief that everything is like spiritually dangerous, you know.
Yeah.
So like I was afraid of the fear,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm starting to see that like I avoided horror because I thought it would, like I said before, would open a door.
Right.
But what I'm realizing is that door was already open. Like
Yep.
it was fear.
Yeah.
And, you know, being told, you know, we were told demons could hide in music and games and movies, right?
Yeah.
But like they were just as present in like in shame, you know,
Yeah. Totally.
in control, in that constant feeling that like something unseen was always like at risk of getting you.
Yeah.
And, you know,
And it's like, oh my God, you were living it.
yeah, kind of, you know, and when everything is labeled demonic, you kind of lose the ability like to tell what's actually harmful,
Right.
you know, like it's already decided for you. And I think that's what's hitting me now. Like that, you know, the scariest thing wasn't horror movies.
Yeah.
It was like outsourcing my sense of what was safe and true. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so because fear, you know, I think this is why I liked Heretics so much, because it explained all of that.
Yeah.
You know, like fear is like a shortcut to control.
Yep.
And that was the whole point of his like thought experiment in that movie.
Totally.
You know, if you're afraid enough, you stop asking questions.
Yep.
You know, and I think, that's why, that's certainly why Heretic resonated so much. And so I'm like noticing how, you know, deep that goes. Like,
Did you watch Longlegs?
No.
That's another one.
Write that one down for me. Yeah, but like because we've said this before, we both like storytelling, you know, and this is a very vivid form of telling stories, you know, and when imagination is treated like a threat, you don't. That's how I feel that was like the fear I was living under, you know, like you don't just avoid certain things, you just start distrusting your own mind.
Yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm. And so being able to like get back into that is like, oh, it's like I can be more myself now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And the irony, it feels ironic. Like
it is.
You know, like the avoidance actually made everything feel bigger and more powerful.
Totally.
Rather than, you know, and that's like what horror does, right?
Yes.
Like you don't show the monster right away.
Right.
Because
then the scare's
what
gone.
you can't see is always scarier.
Totally. Yeah. Your mind will always make it scarier.
Yeah. It fills in the gaps, you know, making it worse.
Because I started watching horror too young, I often would I was like 7 or 8 and would like go get water downstairs. So going from my bedroom in the dark house all the way
Right.
down to the kitchen and getting water. I mean, that
Yeah.
was a big sojourn. And I started like, I mean, I would get so scared that like there was something behind me or there's something under the bed or wherever, like I'd turn around a dark corner that I would just walk like at like 2 a.m. in my house. My parents probably thought I was insane. And I would be like, hello, hello, it's me. Hello, hi, hello. As,
Yeah.
as if
Yeah.
I could just like charm the ghosts that were trying to scare me. Because I'm like, I'm not afraid of you. Hello, hi. Oh, hi, everyone. Hi, it's me. Hi,
Yeah.
sorry to bother.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure I have to ask my parents like what in the world they thought I was doing. But the ghost never got me. So
They didn't. So
know.
you were doing something right.
that's right. Keep saying hello.
We interrupt this broadcast for a new season 2 idea.
An Eric idea.
I think we should do friend trivia.
Frivia.
Trivia. That's perfect.
We're doing some
Yeah.
some
So
frivia.
I'm thinking we'll ask each other questions that are about our lives. Maybe like a little factoid that each of us don't know about each other in the form of like a trivia question, and make it also relate to the topic of the podcast.
Yeah, I'm down to clown with that. For sure.
So friend trivia, cue the music.
Okay. Eric, what 1996 classic slasher was my lesbian awakening?
Would I
I'm
know
not
this?
doing multiple choice, so yeah, I mean, when I tell you the answer, you're gonna be like, "Nah," but the whole point is you don't know that many horror movies, so
I don't know I know kind of the like Halloween and
in that vein, but
Freddy Krueger, but a lesbian.
1996. Well, just to be clear, there's not a lesbian in the movie. It was just
okay.
my
It was
lesbian
just your
awakening.
awakening. So there's a
There's
very
a babe.
attractive lady in there.
Yeah, a TB, if you will. Total babe.
Slasher. Is Scream a slasher?
There she is.
Is it
That's
Scream?
the one. Yeah. That's the one.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That was total guess.
Yeah, Rose McGowan in that. She's the redhead who did you see Scream?
No.
Oh my god, Eric. I can't wait to have this conversation with you today.
Okay. Question about me. This is multiple choice.
Okay.
What movie scared me the most in high school?
Okay.
Is it A, Michael Bay's Armageddon? Is it B, Mel Gibson's The Passion? Or is it C, Left Behind with Kirk Cameron?
I'm gonna go with B, The Passion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That is correct. Which is hilarious because, as a little Christian boy, I'm not allowed to watch scary movies. And the one, scary movie, I guess people, I don't know if you'd refer to The Passion as a scary movie, but it's very violent.
It's not for the faint of heart, for sure.
No. But there were demons in it. And
Yeah,
that scared me because that hit very close to home. So should we get back to our conversation?
We should. Let's talk
Okay.
about it. Let's talk about it.
See you there.
Okay, bye.
Okay. I've been thinking a lot about death.
Oh, because you're getting old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have
back
you
hurts.
experienced that?
Oh yeah, I've been thinking a lot about death, which is why I'm in my spirituality mode where I'm like,
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
my spirit's gonna move on to something else. I'll be a flower or something.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny how often it's coming up. Not in like a bad way,
Yeah.
but like facing it in a sense that like, okay, I've lived about half my life, like statistically speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'm just like subconsciously preparing myself for, something like cancer or maybe going sooner than I would like.
I know, I got a above slightly elevated cholesterol reading at the doctor, and I was like, great.
I'm on cholesterol meds now.
Are you?
And heart pressure meds.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I'm pre-medication. My heart pressure meds.
I know, and I'm on heart pressure now.
But I've been thinking about it more in the context of like that it could come at any moment, and you just I feel like you naturally slow down a little bit at our age and start to think like, okay, you start to really understand the compound interest of like what you do every day is who you are and what you are. And so it's like, there's no like, 17-year-old fantasy where you're like, when I'm, rich and famous and whatever, I can do this. You're like, yeah, this is it. Like, this is.
No, like, yeah. Like what's important is kind of boiling down for me.
Yeah.
And it's really come down to family.
Yeah.
My kids.
Podcasting.
For sure. Well, podcasting is like kind of part of it.
Creative expression and exploration.
Yeah. Leaving something behind.
Yeah.
Well,
you left 5 things behind. Don't worry.
5 things?
Kids.
Oh. Yeah, my kids. But honestly, Emily.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if there is an afterlife. So one of the things that really resonated with me in the Gospels is that Jesus was constantly talking about how heaven is now.
Yes, totally.
And how he's bringing heaven on earth.
Yeah.
And so for me, the afterlife is actually up to me.
Yeah.
To live now.
Yep.
And if there's anything I need to do it now. I feel like it's just loving Emily to the best of my ability. Yeah. And that's like heaven to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's like my reason for living.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm like some servant to her, but it's like it keeps me wanting to be a better person. Wanting to see, like it all starts there and then it kind of works its way out to the rest of the world, Yeah. Not to sound too sappy, but it's like if there's anything good I need to do to get into a heaven, if that exists, it would be loving my wife in the best way that I can, because it feels so close to what I would consider paradise or like heaven, you know what I mean? And so there's been kind of like this new season in our relationship to where we are coming closer. And I think it's because we're finally able to be free to express ourselves in the way that's true to us.
Yeah.
Which and kind of live the life.
Dressing up and going to Ren fairs.
Yeah. Well, that's part of it, living our best lives.
Yeah.
It's silly things like that are so meaningful.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a really great example is going to the Ren Fair.
Yeah.
Because it is something we did with no shame.
Right.
Something we did, and we don't care about how cringy it was.
Yeah.
Or could be to others, and dressing up and going to the Ren Fair is kind of stereotypically cringy.
Definition. Cringe.
But we had so much fun, and to me that's heaven on earth.
Yeah.
And I'm experiencing that now that I'm the furthest away from the church I've ever been.
Yeah, I think that makes sense because you're finding it on your own terms and it's like unfolding for you in really organic ways, not like you're not trying to fit a square peg round hole.
Yeah. And to bring it back to like, horror. So like when you start like literally demonizing everything, you know, it doesn't make you safer. It disconnects you from reality, you know, from the rest of the world. And it keeps you in fear. And so there's, you know, I guess I said it earlier, but like there is this kind of irony in that, you know, the more you try to avoid becoming the monster, the more that fear starts to shape you and control you and keeps you stuck in a cult for half your life. Right.
Right.
And I think what I'm discovering now with Emily and certainly with horror, it's funny to put those two things together, but what I'm discovering now is that safety doesn't come from labeling everything as evil.
Yep.
You know, it's not black and white. It's not good or evil, but it comes from actually understanding what's in front of you, you know, without fear deciding for you.
Yep.
You know, so I can look at death and not be afraid. You know, I can see it, and I'm not saying that I've come to this place, but I can look at what's real, and maybe I'm fearful, but I can look at it and I can approach it and analyze it and, you know, figure out what it's about. Should I be afraid of this thing? You know, and really set my own rules and walk my own path. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like, it is why we're here, is to like actually do some of that inner work. And when we get trapped into thinking that the external is the like truth, that's scary. Right. Because but anyway, I didn't want to belabor the point. I hear what you're saying. And I think you've come into the horror space at a good time, because I'm here to be your sensei and share with you recommendations. And
well, I'm looking forward to diving into films that are not psychological horror or psychological thriller.
Okay, well, I definitely think you should.
like Scream and
some slashers. Yeah,
and I know that's a little more fun. Yeah. I'm looking forward to expanding my horror horizons. Horror-izons.
Horror-izons. You can't say.
Well, should we land the plane?
Oh yeah, we should land the plane.
What do we got to do first? I just watched Good Lord Bird. Good Lord Bird. With Ethan Hawke.
Okay.
It came out during the pandemic, which was surprising to me because I hadn't heard of it. But I really like Ethan Hawke as an actor.
I agree.
I know some people kind of label him as kind of pretentious. I think because most of his interviews come off that way.
Oh.
But I don't agree. I think he's a really like insightful guy. And so I think he was on Fresh Air recently. And I listened to a podcast and he talked about some of his recent stuff. One, he was just recently nominated for an Oscar. But Good Lord Bird is about John Brown, the abolitionist and soldier, I guess. He had his own army and he kind of went rogue. And he was like this weird religious fanatic who took it upon himself to emancipate the slaves. And basically he believed that you must be possessed by demons if you were a slave owner, because how else could you justify doing that to another human being? And so he's very radical, and he's like one step over in the line of insanity, you know. But yeah, it was really good. I thought, and so I enjoyed that one.
So for people who are playing along, Eric, do you want to tell people what you're going to ask me next time?
Yeah. Okay. So our question for the next episode is, how has your sense of purpose changed over time? So more about purpose. I think we talked a lot about that already, but
yeah,
I
we
want to hear more from you.
Yeah, we had to get back into it because we're friends on purpose.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That was fun.
That was fun.
You're so much fun.
I hope you're so much fun. I hope we got something that was like, like cohesive. What's your problem though?
What do you mean? You didn't think that was cohesive?
No, I think it is, but it's like, I don't know. I always, like, once we've just, like, had a conversation, I'm like, how do you turn it into something that, like, makes sense?
I mean, we kind of do and we kind of don't. It's like...
Yeah, it's true.
It's like a rambling... It's like talking to a friend, and that's the point of this podcast, right?
That's why it's so cute and nice.
You're the best friend.
You're the best friend.
Hey, friends. If you enjoyed Friends on Purpose, leave us a rating and review. It doesn't have to be profound, just a few kind words, 5 stars, and maybe some tasteful emojis. It helps people discover the show and hop into the friendship circle. And of course, if you've already left a rating and review, thank you. You're officially a friend on purpose.